It would be called Mission Possible. It just wouldn't be that interesting.
I did like him in Enemy at the Gates, though. That's a low-key good movie. All right. So Aaron Rodgers has sat out of practice Wednesday through Friday each week since injuring his knee in the season opener. And he's then participated in Saturdays and obviously on Sundays. But his missing practice time during the week is affecting the rest of the team, according to Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy.
I do love to compete. There's no doubt about it. It is difficult and different for me to not be out there. You know, I'm one who always loves being out there because you're not just competing, but you're working on things with the guys and working through the game plan, especially on days like Wednesday and Thursday. So that has been obviously a struggle for me.
He's clearly the guy that probably stirs the drink down there on Hinkle Field because he's so competitive. And once again, the quarterbacks aren't bringing it.
He's hurt again, and he's not practicing again. And I'm not blaming him again, but these are not opinions. These are facts. Aaron Rodgers is hurt again and not practicing again. And how many times are...
Well, I mean, it's obviously causing problems with his receivers, too.
Did you watch that game last week? Green Bay, it wasn't that competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they're... I get tired of being... I'm not anti-Aaron Rodgers. I don't like being branded that. I like him. He's great. But he's hurt again. He's not practicing again. This is becoming his brand. He's like one more major injury. His new brand is Aaron Rodgers. Not Sam Bradford, but Aaron Rodgers is hurt again.
Availability plays a part in...
And by the way, he replaced a guy, Brett Favre, who was never hurt. And I'm not blaming either one of them, but some guys are more injury-prone, and Brett Favre got smoked his whole career and never got hurt.
There's certain guys who get injuries because you can tell they don't take care of their bodies in the off season, or they don't train properly, or they're just doing too much, and then there's just luck, and that plays a role in sports. Like, sometimes it just happens. Somebody lands on you funny, and you pop your collarbone. But, you know, we were talking about LeBron at the beginning of the show, how much money he spends on his body. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers doesn't do that, but the availability that LeBron has plays a role in his greatness.
Oh, God, it's the second chapter. He's never, ever hurt.
Yes, it matters.
Brett Favre led the NFL in interceptions, didn't have a ton of playoff wins. Part of Favre's greatness was 18 years, every Sunday, limping, he was available. To be a hero.
And this isn't going to change because when you come into the season injured, you then have to nurse it. Basically, you really don't have the time to fully recover from it. So this is, unfortunately, likely going to be the story all season long with them. So Ezekiel Elliott is obviously the Cowboys' best offensive weapon by far, which is probably why Zeke was asked if he's going to get more carries from Jason Garrett. And here's his answer.
I mean, you can do all that, but at the end of the day, like, if you go back and watch the film, it's poor execution on offense. You can't run the ball if you're down by 17 points. That's what it is. If we get behind, we're going to have to throw the ball. We're not going to be able to, do what we want to do. So what we have to do so we can be able to run the ball more is just be better early in the game. So if we execute early, then we can run the football as much as we want.
Yeah, that's right. He's absolutely right. It's hard when you're down 17 and there's 11 minutes to go and you're pounding out 3-yard runs.
Right. I mean, they ranked 30th in total yards, so their offense is definitely struggling 1 and 2 on the season. He failed to tally 20 carries. It's the first time in his career that he's gone 2 games in a row with less than 20 carries.
You know what's interesting about this? You know who looks good in all this? Dez Bryant. I mean, but we just saw Eric Reed got a job today. Eric Reed was the controversial player, kind of aligned with Colin Kaepernick. Carolina said, hey, we want Eric Reed. And by the way, Eric Reed should be on an NFL roster. He's a good enough player to be on an NFL roster. Now, Kaepernick's different because he's a quarterback. He hasn't played for years, and, it's a different ballgame. But Eric Reed's good, and he should be on a roster for the next 5 years of his life. Dez Bryant leaves the Cowboys, and they go to dead last in offense, and it's like, Dez Bryant should be on a roster somewhere.
But of course Dez Bryant should be on a roster somewhere, though. I think that, like you mentioned before, they've gotten to the point of fatigue with talking about where Dez Bryant is going to go because where is he going to go? We could just continue talking about that forever. Dez Bryant should be on a roster. I don't know that it doesn't make Dez Bryant look bad, that's for sure, that they're not doing well. But overall, we keep talking about Dak. they're going to have to get it in gear at some point this season, or it's going to be problematic moving forward.
Cowboys are one of the few brands in American sports that they don't have to be good to be interesting, and I think the interesting part is, what do you do with Dak?
Right.
There's a couple of if Dallas ends up being a 5-11 team and they don't look great right now, they're going to be in the top 10 in the draft, and they're going to be the only team in the top 10 that needs a quarterback. And Oregon's got a kid that I think would walk in tomorrow and be a star in this league, like really good, fast.
So this year is crucial. His rookie year, obviously, we know what happened with him and Zeke. Last year, I think there were too many moving parts and too much controversy going on with Zeke, and Sean Lee is out, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. Last year is basically a wash. So this year is the year he's got to prove that he's what we saw in his rookie season was legit and not just luck, basically. Finally, many would say that Draymond Green was the Warriors' best defensive player.
Yeah.
Is the Warriors' best defensive player. However, Kevin Durant feels a little differently. KD told 95.7 The Game that he believes that he, too, deserves to be considered among the league's elite players on the defensive end of the floor.
You know they're not going to give me anything. Even if it's on the fence, I have to be clear-cut better than everybody for me to even get a look. So
Why do you think that is?
I mean, it's just pure hate for me, obviously, and no appreciation for my real skill for the game. But I get it. I understand where we're coming from.
What? Who hates Kevin Durant? Nobody's not hateable. Nobody hates Kevin Durant. He and Steph Curry are unhateable. I get the people that don't like LeBron.
No. I think there are definitely. I mean, KD is more controversial than Steph, but there are people that Steph annoys for sure. I mean, Steph gloats, and he's got that look.
But he's kind of playful.
He is playful, but that annoys people.
Who hates Kevin Durant?
KD is convinced that there is a group of, for sure people hate Kevin Durant. He left Oklahoma City and Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I guess.
And joined the Warriors. People definitely hate Kevin Durant.
God, how in the?
But I think he's more speaking along the lines of because he is considered such an offensive threat, no one pays attention to what he does on defense.
I think he's getting whinier by the day. Kevin Durant's got to chill out. Who doesn't like Kevin Durant? He's a great kid. I find the Warriors completely likable.
I do too, but there are people that hate Kevin Durant, though.
That shocks me. They hate him?
Yes, he left OKC and went to join the Warriors.
Draymond Green kicks people in the stuff. I get hating that. Rodman kicked people, and I get that. Kevin Durant didn't have a hateable. What world do I live in? There's a bunch of people that hate Kevin Durant.
There are definitely people on the internet that hate Kevin Durant.
I don't get it.
For sure.
Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
It's a huge college football game this weekend. The college football is getting very regional. It's getting very southern. Clemson, Bama, Georgia. And I think Notre Dame is vital to the sport's health. I think the Big Ten, having a Western team that's good, is vital to the sport's health, and I love it. David Shaw is the coach of Stanford. They go to Notre Dame after a wildly entertaining game against Oregon. By the way, David Shaw played wide receiver at Stanford under Bill Walsh. You'll learn something new every day, and he's joining me in Palo Alto via the Coward Global Satellite Network. It's interesting. I watched Notre Dame 3 times this year, and my takeaway was, just on the eye test, this is the best Notre Dame roster of NFL bodies I have seen in a long time. Now, that's just eyes. And they brought in a quarterback last week late in the game, and oh my. When you look at film in Notre Dame, they look like they can match up with anybody in the country. Is this the best Notre Dame team you've seen on film, David?
That's hard to say because they've been really good for a while now. Every year we battled them every year, and they seem to restock big, long, physical defensive linemen, athletic receivers, running backs that can get by you, and big physical offensive linemen. So every year it's going to be a battle, and this year they're on a roll. They're playing extremely well.
Yes.
I think defensively they are very, very scary, and offensively they have weapons.
Yeah, a bunch of guys are going to play on Sundays. It's interesting. Everybody now, even Nick Saban's offense, they're spreading it out. You got a quarterback that can run. You feel like you're last of a dying breed. You are a pro-style offense. You pound the football. You look like a lot of teams on Sunday. now here you are in Palo Alto, a brain center. You could be doing crazy offensive stuff, but you kind of are old school football. Have you thought about, hey, let's put more wiggles in, quarterbacks that can move around? Why have you maintained this power football in this 2018 world where everybody's trying new crazy stuff?
Well, to answer that question pretty bluntly, we're in the top 5 in wins against Division I opponents in this decade. So for us, it works. We're not about the flash. We're not about the excitement. I think winning games is exciting. I think doing the right things is exciting. I think recruiting the right guys that do the right things is exciting. So when people come watch us play, I think they're entertained. And for us, it's about trying to find a way to win football games.
You played a quarterback last week, Justin Herbert, and you've got a bunch of NFL guys on your roster. I watched Justin Herbert play, and David, you have seen and coached Andrew Luck. You went up against Sam Darnold. You've seen Josh Rosen. The Pac-12 historically puts a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. Justin Herbert at Oregon. Boy, David, he's good. Like when you have seen him now a couple times, what's his ceiling? What do you make of him as a talent going forward? Because I have a feeling we're going to see him play for the next 20 years.
Over the years, you and I have talked a lot about quarterback play, and there is an upper echelon. And for me, I'm not ready to put him in it just yet. I think he needs a little bit more experience, but the bottom line is he's got all the tools. Everything that you're looking for a guy, height, speed, athleticism, accuracy, arm strength, competitiveness, he's got them all. Like he's on that verge to be that Marcus Mariota super special football player that can change games with his arm or change games with his legs.
You know, yesterday, Clemson, Dabo Swinney, the coach at Clemson, let a quarterback transfer. And, the internet, goes crazy about it. Should he, shouldn't he? I have no problem. Coaches leave, kids can leave. But we do have something going on, David, culturally, in college basketball, in college football, that if kids don't start, I'm out of here. And how does it land for you? Because you want kids to enjoy their college experience, but if you had 2 quarterbacks tomorrow say, I want to leave Stanford, it puts you and your program in a bind. Where do you land on transferring college athletes?
Well, I'll give you a short answer because we could do an entire show on this. The bottom line for me is we can't blame the young people. We got to blame the adults. What are we prioritizing here? What lessons are we trying to teach our young people? If you don't win, then quit. You don't win, then leave. If you're not number one, then you can't persevere. My experience has been the best players I've been around have had adversity, and they stick to it, and they stick to their guns. And there's something about being said, hey, you know what? You lost the competition. Now, what are you going to do? You want to come and fight for it back? You want to take this opportunity to make yourself better? I think we celebrate the individual so much that we're losing a big thing we're trying to teach. And I take my job very seriously as a mentor. And sometimes things are difficult. And you love for young men to, yes, ultimately do what you want is best for them in the long run. In the short run, you'd love to see a guy stay with his football team through the end of the year.
You've had offers. The NFL calls you. You could have left Stanford multiple times. Again, Stanford has the top 5 most wins against top-ranked teams in the country. And once again, you never duck opponents. You go out of your way to play Notre Dame. You don't have to play Notre Dame. Alabama doesn't play a tough out-of-conference schedule. A lot of teams don't. There's a million reasons why you could leave Stanford. Why do you remain at an academic power where it's harder to recruit? Again, there's a lot of easier routes for you. Why do you remain there?
Well, I think, honestly, the honest answer, I love it here. I really do. And where a lot of people say, like you did, where it's hard to recruit, I say it's almost easier to recruit because you cut out 80% of the young people in high school. You cut out the ones that are not academically viable. You cut out the ones that don't have high character. And you cut out the ones that are not great football players. So we're recruiting a very specific subset of high school athletes, and I love it. I love being around guys that want to be great NFL players and also want to be doctors like Bryce Love, guys that want to be great football players and want to take international relations like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Those are the guys that we want here, and we can get these guys and have them graduate and go on to wonderful things outside of football, and we all can also put together a great football team that can play big games like we are this weekend.
By the way, your running back wants to be a doctor? That's interesting.
Oh, absolutely. Bryce Love, and he's going to graduate in from Stanford in 3 years and a quarter in human biology, and he's going to be a first-round draft pick. Those are the kind of people that I love to be around.
Oh, my Lord. My dad was an optometrist. I told my mom, I'm like, I'm not good at math. I can't take over Dad's. I can talk on radio. I can't do math, Mom. They wanted me to take over my dad's business. You really have done an amazing job. And I'll tell you, you're going to have your hands full. You're 7, Notre Dame's 8. This is Saturday night. This is going to be an absolutely fascinating football game. David, I love when you come on the show. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Anytime, Colin. Good to talk to you.
4-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year. I think it's a huge weekend for college football. I'll get back to that in a couple of hours. I want to tell you this. Coming up next, an ex-New England Patriot said something, and it's brutally honest and uncomfortably honest, and that is coming up next. It's The Herd.
One piece of KFC.